All right, we are ready to talk about item 7, which is a discussion of a resolution to rename Montrose Parkway. And for that, we have Gwen Wright.
Thank you very much. For the record, Gwen Wright, Planning Director. I do want to acknowledge that a number of other staff have been involved with this issue, including Tanya Stern, our Deputy Planning Director, Rebecca Ballo, who is our Historic Preservation Supervisor, Angela Brown, who is Supervisor in our Intake and Regulatory Coordination Division, who deals with all renaming issues, and of course our communication staff, who have always been very helpful to us on this project and many others. So the board understands what you have before you is a request to approve a resolution which endorses the renaming of Montrose Parkway in honor of Josiah Henson. I do want to be clear, we're talking about Montrose Parkway, not Montrose Road. They're two different things. And that what we're doing right now is not part of the renaming effort that we had been directed to undertake in 2020 by the County Council, which was a comprehensive review of all county-owned and maintained street names and public facilities to determine all those named for Confederate soldiers or those who otherwise do not reflect Montgomery County values. Rather, this is a process not to correct an inequity in naming of a street, but really to commemorate a very, very important historic figure, Reverend Josiah Henson. Most of you know a bit about the history of Reverend Henson because we in our Department of Parks operate a fantastic facility called the Josiah Henson Museum and Park. And it is a very, very detailed depiction of the history of Reverend Henson's life through his years of enslavement on the Riley Plantation and later to his escape to freedom and writing his autobiography, which was called The Life of Josiah Henson, formerly a slave, now an inhabitant of Canada. That book inspired Harriet Beecher Stowe's landmark novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin. And even after escaping enslavement and going to Canada, Reverend Henson continued to be an international speaker and abolitionist, and he led over 100 people from enslavement in the United States to freedom in Canada through the Underground Railroad. He was an absolutely remarkable human being and is someone who is locally, regionally, nationally, internationally important as a historic figure. And we are very, very lucky to have that part of Montgomery County's history to share with the world, basically, both through the Josiah Henson Museum and Park, but also now through, I think, this very appropriate renaming request. We got this request from Councilmember Hans Remer on January 5th, but we have received, in addition, many, many, many letters of support from individuals, groups, all sorts of stakeholders wanting to support this idea of renaming Montrose Parkway in honor of Josiah Henson. We have looked at it from our planning analysis, and we have determined that indeed, and it's on your packet on the very first page, Montrose Parkway does indeed run through the northern part of the property. that was owned as part of the Riley farm, where Josiah Henson was enslaved. From a logistical standpoint, there are only two properties that currently have addresses on Montrose Parkway, one of which is owned by Peerless Rockville, who has supported this renaming. The other is a vacant piece of property owned by WSSC that I think just has a storm drain on it. We do have, through a new development, a number of new homes that are going to have addresses on this road, and will be able to have street addresses assigned to them with the name Josiah Henson Parkway, assuming we move forward. So we think this is a very appropriate way to commemorate Josiah Henson. And again, the board's role in this is you have generally delegated to me the responsibility of renaming roads. But in a very special circumstance like this, I wanted to bring it to the commission and have you all approve a resolution endorsing the renaming. It's sort of fun and great that we're able to do this during Black History Month. That's a nice synergy. But, you know, whether it had been Black History Month or not, we think this is a very, very appropriate commemoration and an appropriate renaming. So the actual resolution is included in your staff report. Some of the letters of support were in your staff report. Others were sent to you because they came in after the staff report was published. Assuming, again, this moves forward, we are hoping to actually have a small event to replace some of these street signs and to celebrate this on March 4th. And when we get the time of that and the information on that pinned down, we will send that out to all of the board members if they are interested in attending. And that's the end of my staff report. I'm glad to answer any questions you might have.
Jerry Sushi, I'd like to compliment your effort in doing this. I think it's a great move. I've had a chance to take my granddaughter to the Peerless site. She actually made a video of it that she's made to the parks people, and I took my wife there the other weekend. So I would suggest that when the MCDOT makes sign changes, that they also include a couple signs that would direct you to the museum and also to the museum parking, because that's one of the principal ways you come off this road to get to it. So I think that's a great effort, and they will be making changes to the signs, and so include a couple arrows that get you to the museum and the parking area, which are separate at this time. So great effort.
Thank you for sharing not only the effort, but also a little bit history about Josiah Henson. If anyone hasn't been yet, it's such an incredible museum, and just learning so much about what he did and the inspiration potentially even for Uncle Tom's Cabin, and also just incredible story of going to England and getting honored by Queen Victoria. And he just has such an incredible life, and I think it's important to celebrate that. So thank you again for putting this before us.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea, and you know, the added benefit to this is the sort of disambiguation of Montrose Parkway and Montrose Road, which can be confusing. So that's just an extra benefit. Yeah, it's great to put Josiah Henson's name on a prominent highway, and it will have maximum visibility, and it will not be disruptive to all but two addresses. So that really just has worked out, I think, really well.
Feature, not a bug.
It's a feature, not a bug. That's right. So well done. I think we could get a motion to approve this renaming?
I'll make that motion as stated by the chair.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved.